Hi everybody, all my followers, welcome to another video. The car today is a 2006 Jaguar X-Type with the 2.0 turbo diesel engine. This car came to me because apparently I haven't seen it. We're gonna see it or yet. Apparently, when you drive, the car drives absolutely perfect. The only thing that it does is apparently when you drive over 60-70 miles an hour, the engine light comes on. I've been told the car carry on driving as normal, even when the light comes on. And then I could not really understand if you reduce the speed, the light goes away, or if you need to turn the engine, or if you need to cycle the key. I've not been really told that sort of information. But we're gonna have a look. But from my understanding, it looks like you don't need to cycle the ignition. The car just drives normal. Surely the light must go off as you reduce speed, and that's it really. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you that there's no lights. I haven't started the engine this morning yet, so okay, so as you can see, there's no lights, no nothing. We're gonna have a look. Sorry about that, guys. We're gonna have a look at the. I'm gonna have a look at the codes, see what's in the engine that could be causing this issue. Okay, so this is the codes we have: P1211, P0251, and P132B. Forget about the P1000. Don't worry about that. So the other three codes, they are kind of self-explanatory. Now, I have a feeling that the first two, they're going to be related. So it's going to be possibly one issue that caused or is causing that problem. And obviously the turbocharger, we don't know yet what can be caused that. Now there is a thing here that I don't have access to freeze frame. As you can see, is not available on this ECU. So for the light to come on, okay, so for the light to come on, to be fair with you, any of these codes would possibly make that. Although I have a feeling that if it was not the top two, but if it was this fuel related, we'd put the car into limp mode. At least, I think. This one, yes. If the car is now detecting the correct pressure delivered by the turbo, it might make the engine light come on. Especially if you are in the load, then you go back. So it might be that the turbo is failing, like a high hand of the pressure. Like high speeds and stuff, so maybe it might be that is when the light comes on, then you reduce speed, you demand less from the turbo, and the light goes away. Now this would work for here. You could have the same in there if you have a problem with the fuel flow. Injector pump metering control malfunction. If you have a dirty fuel filter, if you have a problem with your pump in the tank, not even sure if there's a pump on the tank on this car yet. But I have a feeling that this will put the engine into limp mode. These injector related issues. Now, I think the best way to carry on from here is actually go for a drive, delete these codes first, go for a drive, and see what comes back on. Try to replicate the problem, see if I can make that light come on when you drive over 60 or 70 miles an hour, and see exactly what comes back. And then, obviously, from there, then we have a better idea of which approach we're going to take. As you can imagine, if it's a turbo issue or if it's a fuel issue, we're going to look at different things, obviously. So that's what we're going to do. Delete these codes, go for a drive, try to replicate the problem, and see exactly what comes back. Would be easier if I would have freeze frame data, because I could look at the mileage when it happened, the conditions. Oops. The conditions when it happened. So I could have looked at a lot of other stuff. Some newer cars even tell you the date and the time when it happens. Now these older cars. Yeah, so that's going to do that, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so where are we? First is now the engine light that comes on, is the glow plug light that starts blinking. I've not been told that. And this is the problem sometimes when you get misleading information from the person that gives the car to you. And another thing that I've been told wrong, that's why I like to try for myself, is I said at the beginning of the video that I've been told the car drives normal. It doesn't. Okay, so the car doesn't really go in limp mode, but what happened is the turbo is gone. When I say it's gone, I mean there's no turbo. Okay, it's just like a 2.0 diesel, that's it. The turbo is not actuating anymore since that light came on. So at this point everything starts to point for a turbo issue. So I've been told the car carry on driving normal. That's not true. The turbo is gone. There's no turbo in the car now. So I never had to reach 60 or 70 miles an hour. All I had to do was pull the car a little bit hard, like pull the gears, and I think as soon as even before 50 miles per hour, pulling the car like that, as soon as I put the third gear, I believe, the light starts blinking. So when we scan the car, we're going to do it now, I have a feeling that the code is going to be the turbo code. Now, if we still have all the other codes now back, then it's going to be a little bit more tricky, but let's not gonna suffer in anticipation. Let's gonna see what's in there. Okay, we don't have so we don't have the turbo code in there, which means the car does have no turbo, as I said. The turbo is not actuating, and the car is actually in limp mode. This is actually the limp mode for this car. The turbo is off. The car takes a little bit longer, obviously, to develop, but yeah. So we now know the problem is actually the fuel. Okay, so a completely different approach now. What I'm going to do now while I'm here between the fields is I'm going to take some live data from the actually injection system. Okay, so I took some live data. I'm back home now. I've took some live data. The live data, believe me or not, didn't really show a lot. Unfortunately, first on this car, I don't really have a requested or requested rate pressure that I can read against the actually reading pressure. But there's one thing that I know, or that I've noticed, which is this: I don't think it should fluctuate this much. The top dotted line is 300 bars, the one right below is 200 sorry, 250, 225. Sorry, it's 225, and as you can see, is dropping from the 300 nearly down to the 225 every now and then. So that's a 75 bar difference in pressure. I'm not sure if it should fluctuate this much. Once the car gets into limp mode, or once that light starts flashing, the way that line, and it does this as well, so the engine just shuts itself off. And he actually did it with me while driving. That was my next thing I was about to talk about it. I've not been told. He did it twice, where he just get out like this, but while driving. One of the times I was turning in the intersection, which was a little bit scary. I've never been told that the engine gets out. Also, if you carry on driving with that light flashing, the engine light comes on, and other codes get set into the ECU. I don't know which codes are in there now, but I'm going to show you, and I will tell you if yes, they are. So when the glow plug light starts flashing, only this code comes on. Okay, the P0251. When the engine light comes on, the P1211 comes on as well. Now, this is not a very good code for me when it says the control pressure is above or below desired, because I don't have a desired line. So yeah, it tells you a little bit of what you might be able to do, blah, 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 blah. Not very helpful in this case. So, we know, so the turbo faulty never came back on, as you can see. So, even if there is a turbo problem, is not going to probably reveal itself until we get these two sorted. So, at this moment, I think my next step, the live data, although, yes, we have that a little bit of erratic line when idling. As you've seen, there's a lot of drops on the pressure, and it's a little bit, I think it should be a much more smoother line. I never worked on this engine before, so it might be normal for this engine, don't know. But in my opinion, the line should be much more from all the other turbo, all the other common rail live data that I've seen. I've seen a much more smoother line. So, so from here, I think my next step is going to do a back leak test. See if we have an injector that is leaking so much, and maybe under pressure, a little bit more under pressure. You know, the pump cannot manage to get the pressures where they should be, and we have a pressure below the desired. Or if we have a faulty pressure regulator that is not doing his job properly and is not maintaining the pressure that he should be maintaining. So yeah, I think my next step is going to be a back leak test, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've done a few back leak tests in my life. Well, in my life. Like, if I'm doing this for many years, but I've done a few back leak tests, and I've never seen it like this. I had the car running for about 5 seconds. I stopped it, and I'm going to start it again so you can see.
I'm trying to wait to see diesel coming on number 1, but I think I'm gonna have to stop because the bottle is gonna be full. Okay, number 1, I don't know if you can see, it starts to come through. I'm gonna have to stop the engine because one of the bottles is pretty much full. Right. Wow. Oh. So number 1 was just starts coming through. As you can see, there's a little bit. This bottle is through there, and these two, I'm not gonna be able to see it, but this one is about there, number 3. Number 4 is about there. Look at this. Wow. Now I can tell you easily to see that this injector has been replaced already. It's a fairly new engine, injector. All the other injectors, obviously, they still. So number 1 is the one that leaked the least. So, which is that one in there. Is the one that's good. All the other ones are, all these 3 injectors are absolutely gone. No way would leak all these. So yeah, I think we have 3 injectors. So yeah, the number 1, we can see the one that leaked the least. I was just waiting to see some diesel coming through on number 1, which we did a little bit at the bottom of the bottle, but by that time, number 4, I think it is, 3 and 4, the bottles are nearly full. So I think all the other 3 injectors are gone, really. There's no ifs or buts. This test reveals it all. So we need 3 new injectors. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to check the diesel, make sure there's no metal swarfs in there or anything like that. I don't think this engine is prone for that to happen, but nevertheless we're going to have a look, make sure there's nothing, no contamination in there, just in case we have a bad pump as well, that in turn would damage the injectors. Especially seeing that number 1 injector has been changed already. So we're going to analyze the diesel, make sure it's clean, there's nothing there, and if there isn't, I think the next step is going to be replace the injectors. Don't know if the guy is going to want to do that. Well, we'll see. Okay, just before we carry on, it started to rain again. It's been a terrible day today. It rains, it sands, then it rains. It's terrible. So number 1 injector, that was the one that was awaiting for the diesel to come through first, which is the injector that I was just said is you can easily see that has been replaced not long ago. It's different than the other injectors, and it looks like brand new injector. And you can see the bit of diesel we have in there. Look, that's it. It's all we have. Yeah. Then number 2, look where is the level. It's about there. So obviously it's a massive difference. No way, you know, that's. And then when I go to number 3 and number 4, which is these 2, I don't know if you can see it wobbling about, so it's about there, the level. Look at that. And this one, guys, the bottle is pretty much full, look. It's pretty much full, half a liter, and return. Is when you compare this one with any other one, is already quite a lot, but when you compare that one, number 1 with number 4, gosh, look at that. There's no, look, this is just way too much. I know this is not a fancy kit. I've been using little pipes to adapt to the injectors, blah, blah. It's been served me. I've been diagnosing quite a lot, not quite a lot, but every time I've used it, it did the job. It did the job. But really, I should have bought one of those proper kits with all the adapters and everything. But yeah, so yeah, this is self-explanatory. 3 injectors are completely gone. No wonder the car is losing pressure on the common rail and even shut itself off when every now and then. So obviously, with all this leakage, the car, the common rail, it must struggle to keep the pressure in the common rail. So when you demand a little bit more, you want to build the pressure, but with all this leak, surely the ECU is struggling to keep the pressure in there. So yeah, just as I said, I'm gonna see if the guy wants to replace those 3 injectors. There's nothing else we can do for now. If we have any other problems with the high pressure fuel system, we will not know until we get this repaired. There's pointless to look at anything else without getting this injector sorted out. Okay, so I rang the guy, the owner of the car, and within an hour he just brought me these 4 injectors. He guaranteed me that they are all good, so I'm gonna randomly select 3 of them, and we're gonna put them on the car and give them a good clean first, make sure they're not damaged, physically damaged, and we're gonna put them on the car and see if we get it running. Okay, so we are now ready to start to change the injectors, and what I've decided to do is I'm gonna publish a separate video just on how to change and program these injectors. So I'm gonna go a little bit more into detail into some do's and don'ts, and and show a little bit more how this is done. So for you guys that are interested on that part, on this part of the video, just skip it forward, and you will see me soon publishing a video, this section of the video on its own, for someone out there that are interested only on the changing of the injectors and nothing else. So the first thing we did was free up this space here. So I took the high pressure pipes, the return pipes, here at the back, all the plugs. We push everything a little bit out of the way. And the first thing I'm going to do, because of the layout of these injectors, the setup, the first thing we're going to do is clean all these. We're going to clean all this rocket case cover, get rid of all this dirt, all this sand and stuff. So we're going to clean all this, and that's going to be the first thing. Obviously we covered all these areas, so the good injector, we are not going to touch this injector, so we cover these up. I cover these too. I'm not so interested on these ones, they are damaged anyway, so we're just going to leave those for now. Okay, so now that we have cleaned the area, we're going to move to the next step. The reason why I've cleaned the area is because once we remove this seal here, we're going to expose the top of the engine, so the valves, the cams, everything becomes exposed, and the last thing you want is to have any dirt, sand like was here get into there, because obviously that will get into the oil, it will go around the engine and it can provoke damage. So that's the reason I've cleaned this. Another thing while we're doing this is don't keep any tools around this area, especially once you take the engine off, the injector off. Don't keep any sockets, any bolts or nuts, especially if you are doing other jobs around the engine. Last thing you want is drop something in there, so be very careful with that. And it's gonna move to the next step then. So with a screwdriver or something similar, just we're gonna do one injector only. All the other ones, they're gonna be the same, so it's just repeat the process. So with a screwdriver, we're gonna pop these seals out, or this seal. We'll leave the other ones for now. That will just slide right out. There we go. And as you can see, we have already a hole all the way around here. Now, to remove this injector, or these injectors, any deep 21mm socket will do the job. But there is a special tool for this. To remove, you can easily do that with a 21mm deep socket, no problem. To put it back on, it can be a little bit more tricky. So the advice is to buy what they call open socket. And I'm going to show you here how it looks like. So this is what it looks like. Okay, and what it does is expose the top of the injector, so you can put, so this will go inside there, and when you, to take it off there's no problem, but when you put it back on, obviously you want the plug and the returns facing the front of the car. And when you tie this up, obviously when it starts to tie up, the chainsaw is going to move everything together, so you need to put this facing the correct way. Sorry guys, I was not got you on the camera. Facing the right way, and you can hold the inside of the injector, and you can tie just this sort of outer part of the injector. So you can buy one of these. They are specially made, or at least for these engines, so is what you need for this. Another thing that I advise you is to do this, I'm not going to say with the engine cold, but at least have the engine off for some time before you start to do this. You want all the oil from here to go down into the sump, because otherwise you're going to take the injector and you're going to have the combustor chambers being filled with engine oil, and obviously you don't want that. So okay, so I'm gonna go interrupted, but yeah, so this is the reason. I don't know if you can see on the camera, probably not, probably can't see it, but anyway, so inside there you have the valves, the cams, you have obviously the hole to the injector, And as I was saying, last thing you want is to get dirt inside there or even drop anything in there. So reason why I said keep everything out of the way, better safe than sorry. Next thing, so I have 3 injectors here behind me. I'm gonna randomly pick up one, and the first thing we're gonna do before I put the injector in, especially because these injectors, the code is going to be facing that way, so it's going to be more difficult to read. We're going to take the injector code so we can program the injector later. On these injectors, the code we want is this long code at the top. Okay, so that's the numbers we're going to take. And this is cylinder number 4. Okay, so we wrote the code down, and it's now time to put the injector in place. Now, a quick search online gave me a torque setting of 52 Newton meters for this. Although, when I've looked on the actually Jaguar service manual for this car, not for this car, for the Jaguars, on this engine the torque setting is actually 47 Newton meters, and that's the torque setting we're going to use here. So 47 Newton meters. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I hope you do. Come on. So this is what I was saying. So if you just use a deep socket, as you turn this, you can see, even if you get it straight first, when you tie it down, you're going to turn the inside of the injector as well, like you see. So it can be a little bit tricky to leave it right. It is possible. If you only have a deep socket, you can do it, but always better to have the right tools for the right job. Okay, so let me get a 18mm to hold the core of the injector. Okay, so another thing that we need to do is clean the area where the injector is going to sit. Don't know if I told you that before. The way I did it on a long screwdriver, just put some towel and just put it all the way down, clean it around so the area, so the base where the injector is going to sit is clean as a whistle. And we are now ready to... And now, yes, we are ready to put the injector back in place. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's gonna set the torque range. Don't need the gloves now. So 47. 40, 50, so 50 here, 57, 47. It's going to lock the tool. Try to keep your injector straight as it is. Okay. There is 47. 47 Newton meters, and the injector is quite aligned, facing forward. I'm happy with it. So that's it, this one is done. Now, before we put the seal back in place, I'm gonna give it a clean. Keep it clean with some degreaser. Make sure it sits there properly, so there's no debris around here. That's gonna slide it back in. Okay, so the next step now would be obviously put the returns, put the high pressure and the plug. We're not going to do that just yet because I have another two to do. I will do these two and then we'll come back to finish off. Okay, so all the injectors are now in place, and the next step is going to be to put the high pressure pipes back on. We're going to connect everything back on, including plugs. I'm not going to put the returns. For you guys that are watching this video, just as the video for changing and programming the injectors, I will leave the link in the description below for you to understand why I'm going to do a return test on these injectors. I want to make sure that these three injectors that I'm fitting, they are good because they were used, and hopefully for you guys that are watching that other video, you will be able to see the difference between the bad injectors and the good injectors. So that's what I'm going to do, but I might cut that part on the video for the changing and programming the injectors. So if you guys want to see the backlink test, please go in the description below and watch that other video. So yes, so that's it. We're going to put everything back in place and do a backlink test. If everything reveals okay, we're going to then connect the returns and program the injectors. Okay, so we come now to the programming the injectors. So I've kind of primed the system a little bit. I filled the pump back with diesel. It's going to return a little bit more. It's going to return a little bit back now, but when we are actually ready to start the engine, I will pump it a little bit more, and we will be then attempting to start the engine. For now, we're going to do the code, the injector coding. So we're going to use the MaxiSys 908B, obviously. And the first thing I've done is checking the actually codes in the PCM at the moment. And I can tell you that they have nothing to do with what is actually in the module. So none of the injectors I removed have those numbers. Neither the injector that seems to be brand new, which is injector number 1, as the same number. So I just took the number from injector number 1, which is that one, and as you can see, it is completely different. Now there is a little bit of science to this. Well, not science. There is a little bit of a thing to this, because you can't go like so facing the engine, left to right you have injector 1, 2, 3 and 4, but when you program, you actually program the firing order of the cylinders. So as you can see in there, so I've worked out already these ones, obviously. So number 4 injector, which was the first one we changed, is actually cylinder number 2. Okay, as you can see through there, injector number 4 is actually cylinder number 2. Injector number 3 is actually cylinder number 4. So that's where these need to be. So I first took the readings from the PCM just to check. So I don't know if these injectors have been replaced in the past, or if the engine was changed, if the PCM was changed. I don't have the background of the car, so we're just gonna reprogram everything again. So we're gonna go back, and I'm gonna program all the injectors again. So we're gonna do all the injectors. So it tells you what you need. So it's the 16 characters numbers, which is that. We want to continue. Do you wish injector number 1, so cylinder number 1, which in my case is going to be that one in there? Yes, I want to continue. So injector number 1. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to put all the codes one by one. This is just repeating. There's no point to be here recording. So I'm going to put number 1, and then we'll do number 2, number 3, number 4, and so forth. Okay, I put the number of number 1. Good thing with the MS 908, it doesn't allow you to put well, you can put it wrong, but like it goes from A to F, so it doesn't allow you to put nothing. So it doesn't come with the full alphabet, so it just comes with this. So you can't get numbers that or letters that will not fit here. So we'll press enter, press OK, set ignition to on. Ignition is done, press OK. Okay, cylinder, so injector 2, cylinder number 3. So my number is 4C 49 FC 233 E3. Okay, just double checking, it's correct. It's okay. Ignition is already on. Okay, completed successfully. Now we go to injector number 3 or cylinder number 4. Gotta put my number in. Okay, injector 3, cylinder 4 is done. Okay, ignition is already on, and it's gonna run this. Okay, programmed successfully. Let's do number 4 now, cylinder number 2. It's gonna put the number. Okay, the number is in. Press enter. Press OK. It's already on. Okay, number 4 is now done. Press OK. Switch ignition off. And it's done. Okay, and we're now ready to attempt to start the engine. I have already been pumping a little bit more, filling the system, and I'm gonna try to start the engine. Don't know if it's gonna start first time or not. Probably not. Oh, first time, quite impressed. Well, let's gonna try again. Okay. Obviously there is air in the system. Okay, I'm gonna try until I get the engine running. Okay guys, I have the engine running. I done a backlit test. I had the engine running for a good 4 to 5 minutes, and I'm gonna show you how much I got back. So the injectors I put in, those 3 injectors, still the ones that are leaking back the most. But like I said, that amount of fuel was with the engine idling for a good 4 to 5 minutes, so much better than it was. I want to show you here under live data. If you go back, or if you are watching this video all at once, you remember probably from the beginning that the idling pressure was about 260, 240, around there. I think you can see a slightly difference now. It's idling at about 285, 280, around that. And another thing that I want you to see is you have no drops anymore. So can you see that? How steady the pressure is now? If you remember all those drops on the other one before the injectors change, and you can see how it's running now. Much better. It's maintaining the pressure pretty much constant. Look at that. Okay, so I think the next step is go for a drive test. See how the engine how the car runs. If it runs okay, if it doesn't come back into limp mode and all that stuff, I would say this is done and dusted. Okay, everybody, I've been driving the car back here on these fields. I stopped a little bit because this is a lot of turns and the brakes are already smelling. But yeah, I've been pulling the car like red line, most of the gears, pulling it really hard. I mean, judging by how he was before, if you would have to go into limp mode and coming up with those pressure codes for the fuel, you would come in. They would have come by now. The way I've been driving, the car's been driving fine, and I've just logged into the ECU, and there is no codes. So I think that's it. That was the fix for this problem, for the fuel pressure. So it was basically 3 injectors that were completely gone, and I think that's it, guys, really, for this video. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope I passed some information that's going to be useful. I will be posting, I don't know how it's going to come out, because obviously it was in the middle of this video, but I will see how it comes out, and I'm planning to post a video just on how to change the injector and programming. If the video makes any sense in the end, I will publish. I really hope it does. If you have any questions, any comments, just put them below. And like always, thank you so much for watching.